Please stand for the singing of Shinran Sama, found on page 240 of your service book. Please remain standing and turn to your handout for the reading of our pledge. Breaking out of our pledge, breaking out of my shell. I will share a warm smile and speak gentle words, just like the kind Buddha. Not becoming lost in my greed, anger, and ignorance, I shall think and act with an open mind, just like the calm and peaceful Buddha. Not putting myself first, I will share in the joy and sadness of others, just like the compassionate Buddha. Realizing the gift of life I have received, I shall strive to live each day to its fullest, like the Buddha who tirelessly works to liberate all. Nam Amida Butsu. Nam Amida Butsu. Nam Amida Butsu. Nam Amida Butsu. Please be seated. Please join me in Gasho to listen to the words of Renyo Shonin. The six-character word Namo Amida Butsu is the name which precisely indicates the significance of the entrusting heart of other power through which you are to attain birth. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Today's Dharma talk will be given by Reverend Irene Goto.
Good morning, everyone. Nice of you to all be here. I'd especially like to say hello to the Dharma School students. I see some over there. The older, some over here. I've attended the children's service last week, and I really enjoyed being there. The young adult ministers' assistants conducted the service, and they did a nice job. And the children enjoyed live music with the Bodhi ensemble there. They had after-service activities that demonstrated interdependence and cooperation, and it looked like they had a lot of fun. So I really appreciate everyone who participated in that. Speaking of the young adult young adult ministers' assistants, in the next newsletter there's a picture of all of them. So I'd like you to take a look at them and get to know them, and their names are listed there. So thank you very much for the children's service. It happens about 6 times a year, and it's a dedicated service just for the kids over there in Memorial Hall Chapel. They get to take off their shoes and sit on the floor. Parents sit in the pews usually, but it was really nice, and I think they enjoyed that. Dharma School students, do you remember what your Dharma talk was about last week? Does anybody remember? Wasn't it about ice cream? Yeah, ice cream. Ice cream, you scream. No, not that one. But at the end of the Dharma talk and at the end of chanting, what do you say? Do you remember what you say after chanting? And we did it today. After chanting, we chanted Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. See. So let's start with chanting Namo Amida Butsu again. Put your hands together. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. So this phrase is, I'd like to read a translated reading from Shoshin Nembutsuge, which is part of Shinran Shonin's Kyogyo Shinsho in relation to this chanting of Namo Amida Butsu. Intoning Namo Amida Butsu is the Nembutsu that is the primal vow essence and is for the arrogant, selfish, sentient beings of ego-centered views gravely difficult indeed to embody awareness with joy. Shinjin awareness with joy. Nothing surpasses this most difficult of difficulties. In Japanese, it says, Midabutsu hongan nembutsu jaken kyoman akushujo shingyo juji jinninan nanchu shinan mukashi. The phrase we just said out loud with the Dharma school students, Namo Amida Butsu, has a name. In Japanese, we refer to it as the Nembutsu, to think on the Buddha. In English, we refer to it as the name, with a capital T and a capital N. Other Pure Land Buddhists say Namo Amida Butsu in their languages. The Nembutsu is represented in our shrine by the statue of Amida Buddha. He's standing in the center. The Nembutsu is the core of Jodo Shinshu, or Shin Buddhism, and we say it in gratitude for infinite wisdom and infinite compassion that we receive from Amida Buddha. Doctrinally, there is a salvific, saving aspect of the Nembutsu that we are taught that requires much more understanding than I am able to convey today. The aspect I would like to share with you today is my self-effort to intone, to say, to utter the Nembutsu out loud, so that others who are not familiar with Buddhism, not familiar with Pure Land Buddhism, not familiar with Shin Buddhism, at least can hear Namo Amida Butsu, to know that Namo Amida Butsu exists. Although I can say the Nembutsu easily at temple here and among Dharma friends, it is difficult for me to say even among my non-Buddhist family members, Namo Amida Butsu. I am embarrassed to say it out loud. According to the passage from the Shoshinge that I read, which says, intoning Namo Amida Butsu is the Nembutsu that is the primal vow essence, and is for the arrogant, selfish, sentient beings of ego-centered views gravely difficult indeed to embody Shinjin awareness with joy. Nothing surpasses this most difficult of difficulties. I receive so much all the time. Why don't I hear myself saying it out loud more often? I am trying to say the Nembutsu out loud more often. Sometimes I think of saying it and even say it to myself, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. But why don't I say it out loud? I am trying to say it out loud more often, not only together with the ministers or together with you, the Sangha, but spontaneously, by myself, out loud, at home, out loud in my yoga class. Why is this so difficult for me? Why do I care? I care because I think saying it out loud is one way of spreading Shin Buddhism. I want to say it out loud so that another person can hear it. I want to say it out loud so that Jodo Shinshu, Shin Buddhism, can spread, at least be known more widely in our communities. Why is it so difficult for me? To find the answer, I Googled Nembutsu, and I found it. One definition of Nembutsu, or the name, is a spontaneous expression of gratitude. Spontaneous expression of gratitude. So if I try to say the Nembutsu, it is not spontaneous. And if I try to say it more often, it is all the more contrived and not spontaneous. But I do sometimes spontaneously want to say the Nembutsu, but it doesn't come out loud. From the passage that I read, saying the Nembutsu is apparently difficult because I am arrogant, selfish, ego-centered, and I don't embody Shinjin awareness with joy. I am happy to know this. Why should I be happy about having all these negative traits, arrogant, selfish, ego-centered, without Shinjin, with joy? I accept these traits. I am all that. But yet, in spite of being all that, I am born here as a sentient being. In spite of being all those negative things, I am pretty sure I will be born in the Pure Land. And I can say Namo Amida Butsu because of that almost assurance. The part I am really excited about is the intoning part. In Japanese, tonaeru. It was the first time I'd seen in a translation that intoning the Nembutsu, saying it out loud, is important and difficult. The dictionary meaning of intone is to say or recite with little rise and fall of the pitch of the voice. Of the voice implies to me to say it out loud, like Ron says it, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, in his deep, distinctive voice. I noticed that. Reverend Takamaro Shiragaki talks about hearing the Nembutsu at our temple 35 years ago. In his book, Life of Awakening, The Heart of the Shin Buddhist Path, he says, hearing the Nembutsu during Dharma talks doesn't happen anymore, even in Japan. He was pleasantly surprised when he spoke here at Seattle Betsuin in about 1985. He writes, while I was giving my Dharma talk, something surprised me greatly. As I spoke, the entire hall began welling up with Nembutsu. Around 300 people were at the temple worship service, and they were all saying the Nembutsu in unison in response to my talk. I was deeply moved by the experience. I don't want the utterance, saying, intoning of Nembutsu to go away, to become extinct. I find saying Namo Amida Butsu out loud is difficult. It may be that I don't entrust in the primal vow, that I lack Shinjin. But shouldn't reciting Namo Amida Butsu remind me to entrust in the primal vow? I think it does. Sometimes. These days I am concentrating on saying the Nembutsu out loud so that others can hear it. I first heard the Nembutsu uttered by my parents. I thought that was just my parents. Kind of strange, and I think I would have been embarrassed if they said it in a public place. I'd heard Namo Amida Butsu said at Buddhist funerals. I began attending this temple, and of course, I hear the Nembutsu pretty often. But hearing Namo Amida Butsu in these circumstances had not impressed me so much. It was when I was riding the train in Hiroshima, Japan 5 years ago that I heard Namo Amida Butsu being discussed by two women riding the train. That impressed me. After hearing Namo Amida Butsu said on the train, I thought, how wonderful. I want to hear it in other public places, not just at the temple. Another story of Namo Amida Butsu that impressed me was told at Dharma Exchange by Jean Takeda. Her mother was in a care facility where she shared a room with another woman. The roommate was not Japanese, she was not Buddhist. Jean's mother would intone, say out loud, Namo Amida Butsu devotedly every day and every night. To Jean's surprise, one day she heard the roommate recite Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. And in my yoga class, there was a Middle Eastern woman who recited something additional after reciting Namaste with our yoga teacher. It sounded like Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Having heard her gives me courage to say, little by little, the Nembutsu louder in my yoga class. These are stories that have made me realize that there is value for me to say the Nembutsu out loud so that others can hear it, so that Namo Amida Butsu can spread, to stay alive, so that Namo Amida Butsu, the Nembutsu, can give comfort to others. But I still find saying Namo Amida Butsu out loud difficult. Maybe it is because I don't actually have Shinjin, joyful and true faith in the primal vow. It may be that I am attached to myself. I am bonno, a foolish being. I am afraid of being looked at as strange, weird, different. It may be that I am embarrassing because no one knows about Namo Amida Butsu. I am embarrassing and I am embarrassed. But how will everyone know if they don't hear it? Must they hear it only at the temple? I am grateful to Nembutsu friends who give me courage to say the Nembutsu out loud. Ron, who says it loudly, clearly, and with the sound of gratitude in his voice. Jean and her mother for their sharing the Nembutsu. These stories have made an impression on me, and I hope they will continue to give me courage in being a Shin Buddhist and to recite Namo Amida Butsu, the Nembutsu, the name, more often, louder, to be reminded of the primal vow and to intone it, to say it out loud so that others can hear it. And I hope to continue learning about the deeper meaning of relying on the Nembutsu in my life. Please join me again in Gassho for the reading from the Shoshin Nembutsuge, first in Japanese and then in English. Mira Butsu Hongan Nembutsu Jaken Kyoman Aku Shujo Shingyo Juji Jin Ninan Nanchu Shinan Mukashi. Intoning Namo Amida Butsu is the Nembutsu that is the primal vow essence and is for the arrogant, selfish, sentient beings of ego-centered views gravely difficult indeed to embody Shinjin awareness with joy. Nothing surpasses this most difficult of difficulties. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Irene Sensei, for your Dharma message. Please stand for the Gatha Nembutsu 1, found on page 169 of your service book. Please be seated. This concludes live streaming of our service today. Thank you to those who have joined us on the internet. Please join us again next week. Have a good day. Following this service,